Hi, I'm Mark Honeybone from Property Ventures, and welcome to our weekly podcast where we interview prominent members of the investment community along with other professionals in the New Zealand property market. This is a free service from Property Ventures so that you can keep current and learn from some of the best around New Zealand. To check us out, take a look at propertyventures.co.nz. We hope you enjoy today's podcast. Welcome to part 2 of the interview with Aaron Davis. We had great feedback from part 1 and I'm sure you're going to enjoy this even more. He'll give you further tips on purchasing and tips on life in general. We hope you enjoy today's interview. Hey, you're obviously up there calling auctions every week. You're in Auckland, immersed yourself in the Auckland market now from Hicktown, Blenheim. So what's going on in the market today? Is it going through a normal winter slumps? I know it was hot 12 months ago. The LVR rules changed things. I don't know how that changed the auctions at all. So enlighten us again.
So in my opinion, and it's interesting because I fly all around New Zealand now calling auctions in different places. So look, it's just confirmed to me how the growth is still in, there's no surprise to everyone, right? Population flows, demographics, you cannot beat them. I'm 19% down on auctions at the same time this time last year. The Asian market is strong. There's absolutely no doubt about it. 50% of the time that I'm selling to an Asian influenced buyer. There's no, now 5-10 years ago, we all wanted to sell to Europeans. So if the Asians weren't there, the market would be considerably different. And I'm seeing the first home buyers come back into the market. It's still a seller's market in Auckland, but that pendulum is certainly moving, and that's no surprise to anyone. Now, my tip is if I turn up in Auckland to a 2-bedroom brick on pancake flat land, it absolutely flies.
Yep.
In the Auckland market at present. I had one in Henderson anyway, where they're going for like $550,000. Cross lease 2-bedroom brick. I'm like, are you crazy? $650, that for me is the hot end of the market. And because what is it? It's retired people that have cashed up, or they're elderly. It's the emotion. They want to buy it cheaper, but it's just the move. And you need to be in that market. Is the easiest place to make money in the Auckland market at present. If you're in the top end stuff or the 4-bedroom, 2-bathroom, man, you better know what you're doing. But like I say, why not go for the easy money?
So flat land, brick home.
Well, just our mum and dads, right? They turn up and they just keep going. So here's another one that I had in Henderson Heights. A gentleman bought it off me. I did the auction. Hang on, New Lynn. You can see it on my YouTube channel. It's Cindy Wang was the agent, and he bought the property 6 months ago for $340-something thousand. I thought, okay, fair enough. He put a lick of paint, new kitchen. It sold for $501,000.
Nice.
Now everyone knows those stories, but I just see 2-bedroom brick single level is just flying. So they're the ones you buy as that need some work, that you can flip them pretty good if you know what you're doing.
Yeah, if you've got the buyers there for it.
The buyers are going to be there, right? Yeah. They're just going to be there because the population's getting older.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think the first home buyer market will slowly come back in. They seem to be relaxing the LVR rules. You can still borrow 90% if you go to the right people.
Well, I saw it last night in Mount Wellington, like I said, with 10 buyers. They're first home. They're all there with their mums and dads. They're all swinging for the fence.
Yeah.
So, if you want to fish where the fish are, you fish in the plus 65. What are they looking for?
Yep.
Because they're the biggest demographic. They've got the money. She's happy days.
Happy days. Love it.
Well,
so what about the future in Auckland then, and compared with smaller town New Zealand? And when we're talking smaller town, we're not, we're just talking smaller city New Zealand.
Again, it just comes back to, all the stats are all there now. That's the good thing with demographics and the population flows. You just got to go where the people are, because then you can't be caught with your pants down. It's too easy in small town New Zealand, it's just too hard. Well, it's hard. I just figure, go where the money's easier to make than the hard money. And I just see, Auckland and it's not recreating the wheel. It's just common sense, isn't it?
Yeah, to get that capital growth, that's definitely the common sense way. There are still some areas I'm a fan of to get the cash flow outside of Auckland, but there are little pockets inside Auckland you can get it all around the Auckland area.
Well, it's potentially tax-free, isn't it? Capital gain. Now, if Labor get in, well, that might be a different story. But hey, look, I won't go there with politics.
No politics allowed, mate.
Well, it just is what it is, and I think you've got to be more. Well, you're a professional investor, Mark. It's easier, but it's the other interesting one that I see. Again, it's just emotion, right? That's why property is so different to selling cars, or that people can compare, because there's so many different things to so many different people. School zones become critical in Auckland. But what I'm also finding is some of the best buys are in the prime locations because people think they can't afford them.
Right. Yep.
Like I'm seeing some of the outlying areas in Auckland, in the just in New Lynd areas, because buyers are going, well, we can only afford out of the burbs. Why would we look in the Remueras and places like that? I'm going, well, hang on. Why would you spend 1.3 in Stonefields, which is a great subdivision, right, in Auckland that a lot of Aucklanders know about?
Yep.
Why wouldn't you go and buy in Remuera and pay 1.5 for a full site in a big home? Like, hello?
Yep.
But anyway, that's just me.
No, good work. There's some good hints there you're giving for our people listening, so that's great, Aaron. Hey, great. So you get outside of Auckland. So what sort of places do you go? I mean, outside of Auckland, or a whole lot of anywhere there's a Harcourts office, is it?
Yeah, Thames, Blenheim, Nelson. I've been to Christchurch just recently and had a look at a lot of their auctions, and it was just, I'm just all over the show. And that's one of the appeals with auctioneering, is the community's very, very tight, and they're a good bunch of people. So we, pretty actively social media, we share a lot of stories, and so you kind of get a pretty good feel for what's going on around the country, and Auckland's, Auckland and Christchurch are still the places that seem to be going pretty good.
Yeah, no, great. Hey, I think to ask you before we started the live podcast, but we'll ask you now anyway. You've just got back from Australia with the auctioneering competition over there. Did you compete in it, or?
No, I went over that. They have a group that sort of get together with call the auctions and some really sort of big noters in the auction world. Yep. So that was a training. I had the New Zealand champs and got in the top 4, which was nice. But you got to get
well done. You got to get that number 1 though.
Not what Paddy shot at, nothing. But look, it heights your skills, and you got to just keep putting yourself out there. So a few cheers later and a couple of jars, you're all good to go, aren't you?
Absolutely. Great work. Hey, so you've probably already mentioned some of the good stories. Tell us some good and bad of that you've experienced in Auckland over the last couple of years and what you've seen.
I think the bad is just when people have the best intentions in the like. Here's another tip, right? I think I alluded to it before that people think the auctioneer is the enemy, and they give us a wide berth and they hide.
Yep.
Right? They turn up to the auction and go, right, I'm going to hide from the auctioneer. So here's a story. I called an auction just recently, and imagine, Mark, that you were the buyer, right?
Yep.
And you bid $500,000 and you're hiding from me. And I go, okay, thank you, sir, at $500,000 in now. Good luck. And we're selling, right? Then another guy on the other side of the room to you bid, and it took me a while, right? Once, twice, third and final time, I'm selling to you, Mark, at $500,000. Sir, are you sure? One last stone, chat.
Yep.
Gave him time. He was on the phone, and he bid 501. Right?
Yep.
So you've been to auction bidding school and you think, right, I'm going to show him, and you go 510. And I commend you, sir. That's a commendable bid. Loving your strategy. But what you didn't see was the other buyer on the phone, hang up, and with his hand signals go, that's it, I'm not paying another cent more.
Oh, right, yeah.
And I'm going, Mark, silly.
Yeah.
You could have given me $500 and owned it for 501 and a half.
500, yeah.
So people hide from me. They talk to family and friends. Oh, you got to jump bid, and look, sometimes you do. But when you turn up to an auction, you introduce yourself to the auctioneer. You find out, is there going to be a first right to purchase or negotiate? Chat. You stand next to the auctioneer and you face the crowd, because you'll save a fortune in an auction if you look at what your competition are doing. Now, exactly the same situation. You bid at 500,000. The other guy bids at 501. Now, you put yourself standing next to me, looking at your underbidder, and you see Dad on his shoulder, giving it the old, yeah, have another go. Well, that's probably a fight you don't want to be involved in, right? And you lick your wounds and go, well, I'll bid on the next one. But, man, stand next to the auctioneer and look at the crowd. Don't hide from the auctioneer. And so I see people making those mistakes all the time.
Right, yeah, you have to see. I mean, that's the opportunity. The great thing about the auction is you can see your opposition. And if you hide from it, as you said, you've just missing out on a massive opportunity.
Because people don't come, obviously they don't do it every day, so their body language will always give them away. Now, that's our job to read that, because we do it every day. Instincts prove us right. You will see the same signals. And look, I just see it as singly the biggest mistake people make. And they just don't need to do it.
Yeah. Oh, great stuff. Great tips there, mate. Great tips.
Because, and if you're sitting there and someone's looking comfortable, then you do need to give them the big whack across the bow and put a 50,000 down on top. And you have a flurry, and if it's above your number, then you leave.
Yeah.
The other tip, here's another one for you, mate.
Jeez, full of tips, mate. This is good.
Auctioneer asked for an opening bid, right?
Sorry?
Auctioneer asked for an opening bid.
Yep. And
I don't know, say it's a $500,000 house for argument's sake. Don't give me 400, right? Give me 411,500.
Okay. Yep.
Because all the bidders will go, shit. They know what they're doing.
He's done his homework. He only thinks it's worth that much.
But the auctioneer will go, okay, what am I now thinking? Geez, this bidder knows what they're doing. Then I'll start paying you some respect. Now, where's the momentum shifted? It's shifted to you, not the auctioneer.
Yep.
And that's, and a good auctioneer can deal with that, but, give them random numbers. Do I like it as an auctioneer? No, but that's just one of the strategies. That's what I do. He'll give me 10,000. I'll give you 8.5. Oh, yeah, right, eh? So then the other buyers are going, Jesus, now what's 8.5 and 8.5? They're already under pressure, right? So that's, look, I could go on all day about strategies, but there are a couple of tips for your listeners.
Very good. Good on you. Appreciate it. Right, I'll go off the auctioneer side for a wee bit. We'll come back pretty quick, but we'll try to go away for a little bit. Bigger developments. So I know your family's been involved with bigger developments. I'm not sure what your part of it has been. We've had a few developers here, and it's great to hear different people's tips or lessons learned. Lessons learned seems to be going back to school. Seems to be a big thing with developers, but that's what we're here for. We're here. You're telling some pitfalls to be careful. It's not as easy as it sometimes appears. So, tell us your bit on development.
Well, we're involved in trying to get a zoning change in Blenheim, and the key lesson out of that: even if you win a war, you still lose. Even if you win, you still lose. So look, my suggestion is, trying to get a zoning change, and we've had some people on board with us that really know what they're doing, but the bills have ended up in the hundreds of thousands of dollars. I'm involved in the project myself, and I can't say too much other than it's just going through an appeal stage and And again, it just comes down to it's just very, very, very hard. And I'm thankful there are people, my family that are involved in it that know what they're doing. But why take on something, just adds stress to your life. And thankfully I don't have to deal with that. So my big learning from that, unless you're in it, unless you're doing it, it's your full-time profession and you're really good at it, why would you take it on? I don't know. But anyway, that's, you can never win a war. And I suppose in business too, Mark, it's been the same way. Even if you win, you lose. Even if I beat someone, even if I make money out of someone, in the long run, I'm going to lose because you just can't win a war.
Geez, a very negative, mate, isn't it? Hey?
Well, there's just easier places and happier places to make money.
Yeah, I mean, the thing you said there, you have to be full time. You know what you do, and let the developers do the developing, and lets us get off them, know the developers, and get talking to them and make our bit underneath them.
Yeah, and look, it's going good for us, but I just see the cost that it's had on a lot of other things outside of it, and it's just not worth it. And look, I'm an optimist, Mark. I still carry around a hairbrush. But would I ever suggest doing it? For me, no. I don't want to lie awake at night. And even if we get the zoning thing goes through, then you've got to pump more money at it. No thanks.
Yeah, no, you got big wallets and big banks that's to help you when you develop to a large scale. It's for sure.
5, 6, 7 years down the track. That's a lot of stress.
Yeah.
Right.
A lot of sleepless nights and yeah.
Anyway.
All good. Okay, so that's the big one.
It's easy to make out a commercial, and you must have people like that. Commercials. I've made some of the best money out of some of the commercial stuff. There's, why it's better? There's no grief.
Yep. If you got the good tenants and the right tenants, and they're going to be there for a while, you did right.
Well, even if there is a bit of grief, right? The solicitor's sorting it out. It's all comes down to the lease document and stuff. So it's, I don't know, just I suppose I'm just getting older, and I just don't want the stress in my life.
No, good on you. I like it. Okay, hey, just moving on for some of your other skills or how people can achieve goals and what have you. You're reasonably goal driven.
Yes.
I think so some of our listeners will probably learn a bit, but you have a strong desire to be the best of what you do. In particular, at the moment, you want to be the best auctioneer in the country. You're top 4 2 years in a row, I think, so you're getting close. So just on that goal itself, I know you've got other goals in your life, but tell me what commitments you've had to make to ensure you do this, and not maybe specific commitments, but what sort of generic commitments someone has to do if they have that desire and a goal to do well.
Okay. Look, happy to give my what's worked, because I'll tell you, as we both know, Mark, there's plenty of stuff that hasn't worked.
Yep.
What I've found in business, and it's predominantly been around sort of, franchising and real estate and stuff, is a lot of people are curious, right?
Yep.
A lot of people go, oh, I want to do that. I want to be a property developer. That seems like easy money, but they're not committed.
Yep.
They're curious, but they're not committed. So one of the best things that I did was I got rid of my TV. Mm-hmm. I don't have TV in my house. Now, I was addicted to TV, but because it's not there, I now have the time to be committed, where I just see so many people are curious and they're not prepared to have a go. If you haven't read a book, now I don't know who the author is, but it's called The Winning Bible. A New Zealand guy did it, and it was around goal setting, and I'm pretty good with that. I learnt that from a young age at swimming. But it said to every goal that you set, there must be a consequence. So this year in the New Zealand Auctioneering Champs, I said, right, Harcourts Auctioneering Champs, I said, I'm going to win it. And so the book said, well, what's the consequence to not winning? And I said, right, well, I'm going to give him the guy who wins it, I'm going to give him $2,000 in silver bullion.
Right? Yep.
If I don't win. Now, what happened? A fine auctioneer called Robert Tolt beat me. So I had to give him $2,000 worth of silver bullion, did it on YouTube, and did that hurt? Hell yes.
Yep.
Does that make me more committed and more focused and more driven around that goal? Hell yes. But most people just set goals and there's no consequence if they don't achieve it. Like, for argument's sake, me moving to Auckland. Now, I sold my business and my brother runs a great business there in Blenheim. So I have no fallback position, right? There's no safety net. I'm in Auckland. I'm talking to you. This will be public. So when there's no safety net, then you can only but achieve what you've set out to do. And effectively, it takes you 10,000 hours to be an expert in anything you want to be an expert at. So if you're prepared to do that, then you will be an expert. So, there are countless books and information out there about the 10,000 rule. Yep. So get rid of your TV, and in 5 years, you can be the best at anything.
Nice. No, I appreciate that. That's great stuff, Aaron. Geez, how do you watch the Crusaders? You got to go down to the pub and watch them, do you?
Isn't that interesting? Because people say it to me all the time. They say it's not fair on your kids. But what happens now is TV becomes a social event. It becomes something that we look forward to doing. So now, when there's something on at TV, we go around and visit friends.
Yep.
When there's a game on, it becomes an event. But see, I've never been happier, Mark, and I put it down to I don't have TV. I go home, I've got nothing to do. So I read, I call people up, I do some work, or I go to bed and get a good night's sleep. But if I had TV in my house with Sky, I'd be watching it till 2 o'clock every morning.
Yep.
Because I get to zone out.
Yeah.
But I'm under you get rid of that TV, and I promise any listener, after 3 months, you will have better relationships. You'll be happier. It just works for me. It's so simple.
No, I've heard that from a couple of successful people who did that, and just think of the time, and even if, as I said, not watching at 2 in the morning, that's extra 3 or 4 hours sleep you might have had, which gets the brain better to achieve that goal and the next day and carry on. And have anyone that says it's unfair and the kids not having TV, I think the communication that the kids have, they'll get far more out of it.
Well, just people aren't. We all know that it's all online stuff. The Crusaders on the weekend. I took my son down to the local. We watched it down there. We had a great time. We had a lot of fun. We were talking to locals. I was having a beer. I picked up an auction. Funny that.
Yep.
It's
nice
pretty hard to just an auction in your own house. Anyway.
Jolly good. Great work.
Well,
So so just going on from that too. I mean, you obviously you've got a very strong passion for people, for property. I mean, which listeners can hear, and also a passion for life. So, and you've probably almost said it, but how have you utilised property to achieve your passion for life?
Well, what I've learned is obviously it's the old cliches, location, construction. The good stuff that I've bought it well. That, the richest man in Babylon. It was the greatest thing being involved in Harcourts 30 years ago with my father, because I was sort of at a young age put into those sort of speaking things. Pay yourself first. There's nothing new in that. So property's been I'm in a lucky position now, Mark. I have no debt to anyone. So because I've always paid myself first, you get the money you've invested into property. I get the money I invested into property. So now in my life, when I want to make a change, I don't have that stress to go, well, I've got all this debt hanging over my head. So then I can't follow my passion or do what I've got to do. So the number one vehicle for me was always paying myself first. And now I've got myself in a position where I can do what I want to do. And I've got obviously that vehicle through property. So that's where it's been good for me.
Great stuff. Yeah, pay yourself first. It's another good tip to put on there. And going and moving on really from that question, you people when they see you or meet you, and you've already said you don't like conforming to the normality. You have a certain way about you, and but whether you know it or not, and I guess you do inspire a lot of people around you. I know in the team down here, you certainly inspire them a lot, and you walk into a room and the room gains energy, and that's sort of how it is. So tell us some of your formulas on life. I know you've already said about the TV thing. Just generally.
One that's worked for me, Mark. I think because I'm like, how do I see myself? I see myself as a confident person. I like to have fun. I enjoy people. But one of the real breakthroughs for me recently has been to celebrate your own crapness. right?
Celebrate your own crapness.
And what happens? What happens for me when you do that? Like people say stuff to me, like what I found for the first 43 years of my life is I'm trying to make more money. I'm trying to have a better relationship. I'm trying to keep fit. I'm trying like there's all these pressures now that we're always trying to aspire to. Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
You know, there's always something you got to be better at. There's always someone better, faster, richer, poorer. I don't know, whatever. So for me, when I started going, okay, I'm going to celebrate my crapness. I have done lots of deals that I've shared with you today that I've lost money on.
Yep.
You know, there's just so many things. I'm awful at relationships. You know, I'm a struggling single parent. But when you celebrate that you're not very good at these things, all that stress kind of just disappears. People say, oh, you're not very good at this. I know I'm not very good at that.
Yep.
And then it just takes all their power away.
Don't worry about it, yeah.
Because, you know, you have like that poppy syndrome. People try and knock you and go, oh, that wasn't very good. And that's right. So it seems weird, right? But every day, as part of, you know, I have my goals and I have things that I'm thankful for,
yep.
and also go, cool, these are the things that I want to get better at, but I'm okay that I'm crap at them. And then all of that worry it doesn't go away, but man, it's so much easier to live with. It really is, versus knocking yourself all the time. I've got to do, you know, I'm this, I'm that, I've got to lose 20 pounds. I've got to, you know what? I'm a slob. I'm overweight. I acknowledge that. It becomes easier to deal with in my book. So when people come up to me and say stuff now, I go, yeah, I know. Yeah, tell me something I don't know.
Yeah. And I can totally understand why you said that. And that's great. I mean, the expectations of people these days are just crazily high. And then if you take that on board yourself, the expectations other people have on you, which is no right of them to do that anyway.
Yeah.
You're in charge of yourself, and who cares what other people think, whether it's good or bad.
Well, you know, what they think of you is none of your business.
Yeah.
But it's still, you know, people can say stuff and it still upsets me. So really, I'm as good or I'm as bad as everyone else. And yes, I run around, Mark, with the racket trying to go, I'm the man, you know, I'm confident, I'm this. But, mate, I got the same insecurities, the same stuff. But celebrating it more, it just seems to disempower it. And I have less stress in my life, and I'm happier because of that.
Yeah, I like that. In fact, there's an extra chance to have a party, mate. You celebrate your success and celebrate what you're crap at. I like it.
You know that movie Notting Hill. You know, when they all sit around the table and they all go, you know, well, mate, that's nothing. It just, I don't know. It just.
True, that's
right.
It's
just easier. So you know, I'm a good auctioneer. I want to get better. I will always be a student of property, of auctioneering, and as long as I believe and I know that, then I'm fine. When I think I know it all, that's when it's time to go, you know what, you twat. You know, go and do something else now, because we're surrounded by people that just think they're so damn good.
Yep.
And yeah, that doesn't work for me.
Great work. No, I like it.
Yeah, no, I like it.
So just on a sort of personal, fill in what are you doing at the moment? You said you're a slob. I think you used to be a slob, mate, but I don't think you are anymore.
Well,
you still playing a bit of squash or any competitive sport, or?
Well, see, when I come to Auckland, I was what was I? I was lousy at relationships. I was 112 kgs. So you know, I was overweight. I wasn't feeling very good. So, you know, I celebrated my crapness and said, you know what, I have got some issues around that. So I went out and I told all my friends and family I'm doing the Ironman. I paid my $1,000. I had no fallback position, right? That was the key. Again, no fallback position. You only can succeed. And, you know, now I'm sitting at 92. So my goals moving forward are to stay healthy, to remove stress from my life, and become the best auctioneer that I can, Mark. So I invest a couple of hours a day practicing auctions, practicing scripts, dialogues, numbers, until I can achieve what I want to achieve, and then I'll work something. You'll probably after that, then I'll become a professional property investor, and I will live in mortgagee auctions in the Auckland market.
Nice. Love it. Hey, great stuff, Aaron. That's awesome.
No problem, Mark. It's and I'm loving your work with Property Ventures, and keep up the good work, brother.
Awesome.
Help people make money.
Good on you. Hey, thanks, mate. That's some good tips. I mean, I've just been writing a few down that you've gone through on auctions. Starting point of the auction, where to sell in Auckland. I like that one. I'll be taking a note of that one myself. Maybe I won't tell the listeners. And the life, pay yourself first, and that sorts it out. And the last one, celebrate your crapness. Good work.
And just, again, with anything with property, don't. I think a lot of people, and I feel the pressure sometimes, like I'm an expert. No. You know your stuff, but just keep asking for advice and help, and then you'll just do better.
You never know everything, that's for sure.
Stand next to the auctioneer at auctions.
Absolutely. Hey, jolly good, Aaron. Thanks very much for your time today, and we'll be in touch with them up in Auckland next time. Thanks. Thank you.
Mark, may good fortune keep knocking on your door. Literally.
Good on you. Thanks, mate. Bye.
Cheers. Ciao.
I'd like to thank Aaron for his time for these 2 podcasts. It's been a real pleasure, and I'm sure you've enjoyed it. If you have any topics or anyone you'd like interviewed on these podcasts, please let us know. Thanks for listening, and I hope you have an awesome day.